Our generation is the most overstimulated generation of all. Let's just imagine what the average teen lives like nowadays. The average teen wakes up and conditioned by years of addiction, he goes and the first thing he does is he grabs his phone and consumes content for hours. Hyper-stimulated edits where there's zooms and explosions and everything, already frying his dopamine. His whole life revolves around consuming content, playing video games, eating junk food, and just overstimulating yourself constantly. They scroll on YouTube Shorts, slowly destroying their attention span, and now they can't even focus in class. Yes, some goals like losing some weight and getting rid of the man boobs, but because of the fact that he can't seem to do the hard work, because the hard work feels too difficult. Oh, why do all the bad things feel so annoying and difficult, he might say. He just doesn't do them. If you resonate with anything I just said, then you are on the right video, because for most of my life, I struggled with the exact same thing. Every day, I was almost semi-bullied by my parents to go and study the math, go and do the hard thing. But because it felt so difficult, I just couldn't resist just playing the video games and going in and eating the junk food instead of eating the nice greens that my mom had made for me. I struggled with the one problem where just the good things in life just felt too difficult. I couldn't study the math. I just went and played the video games instead. I didn't want to work out, and I instead just upgraded my avatar on Roblox or something. And as I look back, I just had this sad feeling because it's such a simple fix, but nobody actually does it. Because here's the thing. Of course you can't do all the hard work. Of course you can't do the hard work because you have all this pleasure around you. Why would you read a book if you had video games right in front of you? Why would you eat the greens if you have hot Cheetos and cakes in front of you, right there? When you condition your mind to get pleasure immediately and to always seek it, of course you're not going to do any of the good things. And of course all of the hard things feel so difficult. The modern world has so many of these foods that have these little crumbs on them to make them addicting. You have video games where you're getting dopamine here and there and everywhere, and you just can't seem to peel your eyes away from the screen. You have social media that's been programmed by these skinny neck little engineers to become as addicting as possible. Of course all the hard things feel so difficult. You have made them become this difficult. You have programmed your mind to seek the pleasure right now, and because of that you can't do any of the work. Because again, these things are meticulously designed by these stupid skinny neck engineers so that we become addicted to their services. We're like the guinea pigs in the cage getting the chemicals and the video games and the splashes of images on the screen tested out on us. And these services were never made for our well-being. They were made so that we would become addicted to them. And because of that, now we can't do any of the work, and now we're not progressing. If you have flab on your stomach and if you can't really do any of the hard work, it's because you're overstimulated. Because of that, you can't do any of the correct hard work. Because think about it, 1,000 years ago, we didn't have any of these things because our minds had to be razor sharp if we wanted to actually survive. Imagine a caveman sitting there next to the boar's den, waiting for the meal, or else his whole tribe would die. You think his mind was wandering, thinking about a meme or a certain video game that he's gonna play later? No, he had to be laser focused, or else he would die, or else the food would get away and they'd starve to death. Our mind is made to focus. It is made to stay fixated on one thing, and it is made to look for pleasure, to look for good things that feel good, because those are normally good for us. Those are normally what's going to help us survive. But nowadays, there's pleasure everywhere. We have people coming up with these formulas to make us addicted to their food. We have all these chemicals entering and exiting our bodies. We're consuming all this content, all this short form crap. So of course you're not going to be able to do any of the hard work. We need to step away from what everybody else is doing. We need to step away from these addictions, because you've seen it. You've seen the attention spans being lower and lower. And I applaud you if you even made it all the way to this video, because there's no hyper-edited animations to keep you hooked. Because I'm here to deliver to you raw content that will help you. And the only way you're ever actually going to be able to do the work is if you step away from all of these poisons around us. We need to live new lives as the teenagers, where our time is the most important thing ever. We are conditioned to waste our times through video games and junk food, but that's such a disgrace, because the hours and days that go by right now are the most crucial to shape our lives in the future. But if we waste them all away, there's never going back. You're never going to get that time back, and you're never going to be able to reach your full potential. You need to step away from all the addictions that people have gotten into: porn, video games, junk food, scrolling on social media. And I get that this might seem cringe. I might even sound like your mom, like, get off the phone, beta. But it's the truth. You need to grasp the fact that we are more than these addictions right in front of us. There's more to us than this. As teens, we have been conditioned again from birth to look for the phone when we're bored. And because of that, our attention spans are worse than ever. We're conditioned to be fat, to be lazy, to be submissive to these services. And guess what happened? We're addicted. Suicide rates are higher up than ever. And we're slowly killing ourselves every single day with these habits. The hard work feels difficult because you're overstimulated. So you need to step away from everything. You need to get into a new lifestyle where you're actually living like a human. We're actually living, not just consuming. And you might be having this excuse like, oh, all my friends are doing it. Yes, but your friends are headed in the wrong direction in every single way. All of your friends are doing it, but you cannot afford to be where your friends are at. When you follow the crowd, what happened? You became fat. You became ignorant. You became addicted to these services. Clearly, this isn't working. You can't just follow what everybody else is doing. You can't simply rely on somebody else's validation for this addiction in order to keep going. You need to step away and think for yourself. Think for yourself for once. I made the mistake of following my friends. Where did that lead to me? The fat on my face. The addiction. The hyperstimulation that caused me to not be able to focus again. And it's only going to get worse. So you have a choice. Keep going and following the crowd and live a pathetic, meaningless life where you keep on wasting away, or step back and observe how life will treat you differently. When you step back, suddenly your mental health gets better. Suddenly, you're able to actually think for once and plan and focus. And that's the state that we need to be living in as humans. And this might sound weird coming from a 14-year-old who's been exposed to all this social media, but none of it means anything. You don't remember even 1% of what you just consumed. The 10 hours of video games, the 10 hours of scrolling on TikTok, you don't remember any of it. You didn't benefit from any of it. So why would you do it? Because you're a slave to this addiction. And you need to peel back the layers and start actually thinking for once, like, wait a minute, of course I can't do any of the hard work. I don't deserve to be able to focus like that. I have been conditioning my mind to crave switching my attention to different tasks, to crave pleasure, and you need to start taking action by stepping away. We need to start living again. Your mind is almost calibrated with this thing called dopamine, this term that you might have heard. It's the motivation